Welcome, everybody, to the very first session at the shed.
That's SHED, the Smoke and Herbal Education Destination, where you can find everything from cannabis tips and tricks, fun facts, lifestyle hacks. Pretty much, if it has cannabis in it, we'll try and discuss it.
We're your co-hosts. As always, my name is Nimbe. I'm joined by my beautiful life partner.
What's up, y'all? My name's Janaea, and I just want to say that we're super excited to be here.
Yes, our very first episode, our very first session at the shed. And yeah, let's kick this off, hey?
Theme music.
For those of you who don't know us, or if this is your first, if you stumble upon our podcast by accident, then make sure you check us out on our socials: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You know, we've got something up on Pinterest as well. We've even got a YouTube channel. So, babe, since this is our very, very first episode, why don't we let the people in on like what's gonna be happening?
So, I just want to start off by saying that there has been some chatter, like some talk and a bit of curiosity building amongst the people that we know, which is amazing. It's a super cool feeling. Actually, and we're really flattered, really grateful. I just wanted to say that because that inspired me to really shape this episode a lot around just the shed. You know, we're gonna do how and why we started. We're going to do, what we do, why we do it, our bigger goals and dreams and all of that good shit.
That's it.
See where it goes, honestly. So, that's what I have planned. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that's great. No, I think it's good that we should get in there and, cover all those spots, fill all those spots out. So,
why don't you let these good people know how this all came about? Where were we at in life? What were we thinking? How did this all happen? How did this start?
All right. So first of all, I guess I'd say we just come off jobs and still finding our way, and we learned about cannabis, and it became a passion, and we quickly felt that it was more than just it was just more than just cannabis as everyone knows it as. So I really guess it was that that passion and that desire to build and make something more, and something more meaningful, and something that everyone already enjoys cannabis, but why don't we give them a bit more? Because this plant's it's great. So
we were just come off having jobs, and we were looking for something. I mean, I personally wasn't looking for something. I had already found something. I was already doing something else.
I really think it was more of like an interest, or a hobby, or like a something
definitely
that
before it became a full career path that we want it to be now.
Yeah, no, I think it was more of like it was just something. Something that we
of
knew
interest.
Of interest. It really was. But we had our focuses and our careers, and before we really decided that we really wanted to take hold of this opportunity or this industry with both hands and really give it a good go.
But I think the real turning point for us that made us switch from hobby to career was that we found quality education.
Exactly. That was was lacking, or was something where we both could get in and really bring to everyone, or thrive with.
We were just doing our own independent research, to be honest, on cannabis.
Yeah.
Because it was an interesting topic.
It was always interesting, hey. It was.
And I think that everyone can relate to that, though.
Nah, honestly, hey, because for me, it wasn't really it was just always, it was like a hobby, as you said.
Yeah,
It was
it
just
didn't
like
seem like
interesting.
much of a task.
No.
And I think that in popular culture today, everyone's already semi-immersed in cannabis content.
Yeah.
Like on social
Yes.
media and
Right.
through
Right.
ads and through friends of
Right.
friends and things like that. Cannabis is honestly just as popular as cigarettes.
Pretty
Like,
much.
if not more popular.
Pretty much.
So it was really easy for us to adopt it like as a hobby
Yeah.
and as a topic of interest. And so naturally we were just researching and then came across some really quality education, and by learning and by progressing and just continuing on with it, like reading and watching videos and doing more independent research, we quickly realized that we wanted this as a career, like as a life pathway.
It sort of felt right, or it felt, it came easy with us.
Right. And like on that being aligned, as you say, it's a big part of why we chose cannabis as well. Like alignment and cannabis aligning with our life goal.
Yeah, and when shit just happens and you're like, oh shit, like,
Meant to be kind of thing.
So you're like, okay, I should just sort of like flow with this, or run with this sort of thing and see what happens.
Yeah, kind of more than a coincidence.
Yeah.
Kind of passion. And yeah, I think that us both having life purposes of healing, especially on a large scale, like what better way than cannabis, and that alignment alone really, really tipped us over the edge and made us decide to follow this wholeheartedly. So that's a bit of background about why all of this and why we decided to start. But why don't you let these good people in on what we actually do? What is the shed at the moment? Currently?
Well, the shed currently, we are 100% online presence. We're all online.
Well, focus, like our main focus.
Our main focus is based around sort of education and awareness, and fighting for cannabis and,
Exactly. Cannabis justice.
Exactly,
that's a big one. We'll leave that for another session.
That's it. We'll just leave that there. And really, like what I say, education.
Exactly. Awareness.
Fighting to end prohibition.
Yeah, and we do everything from we have fun little facts, we got full on blog write-ups, we're covering everything from law. I know I said I didn't want to say it, I'm going to say it again, we're covering justice. It's very important.
Yeah.
Everything from justice to medical, fun tips.
Yeah, and that's pretty much everything cannabis, honestly. We try to get as much information and as much of a wider, a wide range of information, but we try to mix it up a little, chuck in a lot of different things, but keep it interesting. We don't want to be too in your face formal, but we try to mix it up.
Yeah, definitely. And just on that wide range, it's difficult. I mean, cannabis in general is there's such a huge spectrum, and we really do try and cover it all. But we love hearing from our followers, and
that's what I was just gonna say. No shit.
Honestly, if there's anything of interest that we've talked about or you want us to talk about, hit us up, y'all.
Yeah, we enjoy talking about cannabis, and this is why we do it, and we know that you people out there...
Exactly. We're not the only cannabis connoisseurs.
And that's why we're doing this, because we know that there's people a lot like us, and we just want to connect and share our experiences and knowledge and just grow.
Could not agree more. So that's who we are right now, though. That's what we do. And we really, because education was like our turning point, the shed is really where we're going to hold education. Honestly, I want to say forever. Like,
yeah,
the shed will be primarily about information and cannabis awareness, like,
yep,
period. So yeah, we do not participate in any illegal cannabis activities. We do not purchase or sell or promote. We do promote other companies and we will promote other business partners, but we do not promote the use of any cannabis products. Let's be clear on that.
Let's be clear.
Crystal. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's it.
All right, yeah, so that's pretty much who we are, what we do. Cannabis entrepreneurs, bloggers, online
information givers.
That's it.
Hey, I keep saying education is just, we hold it at the highest standard, and I don't know how I can emphasize that enough, because no matter what field of cannabis you go into, education and learning will always be a part of your life.
Yeah.
Not just your job, and like, for our goals that we have, like education and integrating cannabis into the world and into society, like education is going to be key. So yeah, I can't stress education enough, honestly, and the shed and we can't stress education enough. So that's what we are right now.
That's it. And we definitely love what we do. We, just before we continue, we'd just like to say that if anyone wants to pursue careers in cannabis, like definitely follow what you're trying to do, and don't stop because the law or policies regulate you.
Or even hit us up. We can help you out. Because like I said before, like education for us was that turning point. So if you're looking for a place to start, if you don't know how to get in the door, like if you don't know what your first step should be, hit us up. We have a lot of good resources. We have a lot of good friends, like we can pass you on to. And it's that simple. Like, honestly, education is close to free, and that's the bestest way. Like, we couldn't recommend a better first step.
That's it. And you'll be surprised how much you can pick up from these resources, because they're really great resources.
Exactly. And you don't know what you don't know. There's a lot of people that have actually been in the cannabis industry for years that you have access to. And there are actually people that have been in the Australian cannabis industry for years that you can have access to.
And then there's just so much that goes on involving like the cannabis community within Australia that a lot of people aren't aware of because of the restrictions and laws. But hey, like, hit us up. We'd love to discuss all these things.
Don't we always?
Always.
Ain't that why we started a podcast?
We're moving on up.
Yeah, so a bit of background. That was awesome.
Oh shit.
So that's what we currently are. That's where the shed currently be at. We plan on doing this thing for years to come.
Yeah.
Like, we plan on being at the shed focusing on education primarily for years and years. I mean, we have other plans, obviously, other businesses, other separate companies from the shed. But for the shed, we plan on taking it somewhere.
We plan on, doing as much as we can and growing and, evolving as laws, change in society.
Lord, help us, please.
We can only hope so, and if,
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. We're going to build it, and we're going to do a lot of fun shit, I feel. Our followers are steady growing. I was going to say our growers are steady following.
Lol.
Same thing though. And we're really expanding our reach, and we're starting new things and new experiences, i.e. this freaking podcast that I'm still so excited about. Like, still so excited. I'm speaking into this microphone.
So
and
weird.
it's real. So
Yeah.
I mean, growth is growth.
That's it. Hey.
And we're steady growing, and we do plan to grow our online reach.
And that's the great thing with cannabis, is that the opportunity in this market, there's endless opportunity, and you'd be surprised where you can get in and how you can get into the industry,
Like, boom, even though we're not directly involved in cannabis, like, we're still in part of the industry.
Yeah, like when in the growing or selling, that doesn't make you part of the industry.
Exactly. There are a whole, oh my god, like, the doors and the opportunities are endless.
And like we were saying before, this is the type of stuff we didn't know before. We got before education. So like it's crazy the type of stuff you can learn. And it was so surprising that these occupations existed within the industry, and it's pretty much like for everyone.
Who knew we could do a cannabis podcast and be considered part of the industry? Like, it's grown so much since the typical weed movies and weed songs, that
exactly.
define the industry.
And that's it. And it's like that's how everything's evolving, and cannabis grows with your opportunity.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's no limit to what you can do within the industry, and it's exciting, and it's only the tip of the iceberg stuff.
So just to clarify, we are saying that starting an IG page or running a podcast where you just talk about cannabis and how it affects you considers you a cannabis business
That's
owner.
it. Like straight up.
Honestly, like a cannabis entrepreneur.
That's it.
It's that easy, y'all. So yes, anyway, that's a little bit about us. And in the future we do plan to do some really, really fun things. Yeah. And while we're growing here on the internets,
because it's the only thing, that's the only place we can grow right now.
So while we're doing that, we are also so while we're growing on the internet, we're also planning of future expansion all the time. So hopefully, in the near future, we can partner with some really cool people.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, and launch some really cool, like, merch, hopefully, and get some, I don't know, real cool collabs going. Honestly, the canna world.
That's it.
Is our oyster.
It's pretty much. Hey, pretty much.
Clearly, because we got our toes in so many different pools of cannabis, online media and things like that. We're
definitely
doing quite a lot of things. It's pretty easy. It is though. No, it is though. It's really simple.
It is.
What's recording a podcast and uploading it? What's making a graphic and, writing a piece of copy and uploading it? Like,
it's not nothing a stoner can't do.
No, exactly. And that's why we encourage it so much.
Yeah.
Like, we are real advocates of starting your own or becoming your own.
Exactly.
Especially in the cannabis industry.
Exactly. If it's something that you enjoy and you love doing, being a part of, then I guess why not? See how you can be a part of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's current and near future. What about like 10 years?
10 years, ooh. Well, by then, surely, Australia would be like, one of the leading freaking cannabis economies, or, up there with Canada and the US. But in 10 years, like, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be deep in the green rush, So we'll be all up in there. For the shed, plans are we plan on being, basing or maintaining the online education platform and just having it grown, but also, you know, being a more physical, more, you know, expanding on the brand pretty much, and like building a network of people and becoming a corporation.
Yeah, and also kind of like take the education offline as well, and like really into people's lives, and in try and incorporate it into people's lifestyles, you know what I mean? Like free classes and offering that education like within
Exactly.
communities,
and be more like, you know, physical this time and be more interactive and
exactly. But like not only that, like on a community standard we could be funding local businesses or projects or researchers that you know, really making waves in the cannabis community. And I think that giving back on a community level is really important for us, because, you know, this is where we started.
Exactly, yeah. That's so true.
So, yeah, in 10 years, hopefully, we'll be in a position where we can do that.
Yep. And that's, you know, that's what we're aiming for. Like now is we're striving to build something so we can be able to help others.
So far, we've covered how and why we started, and we've gone through a little bit of like what we do and what we do right now, what we see in the near future, and in a little bit further down the track. What would you like to talk about next?
Well, let's discuss our logo, and how that came about. You know, what was the thinking behind that?
The logo is definitely interesting. Like, it represents us, I think, more than people would know.
Exactly, yeah. And it is because like you got the cannabis leaf in the middle.
Oh, that's a given, boom.
That's it. And then you got the brand name, and then we have the triangles and the line. Like it may look a bit confusing, and it looks good, but like people may just think that, you know, because it looked good we chucked it on there. Right. But, you know, there's a deeper meaning to it.
Right. And it's really interesting as well how it came about, because if people don't know, I run my own separate business on the side, and it has a lot to do with personal development, and
yes, that's right.
I had to make my own personal brand, and to do that I had a worksheet. So I thought, why not, you know, do the same for this business?
See what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And also because we wanted it to be really personal and relatable to us and really represent us. So we went through this worksheet.
Yeah.
And there were a few activities on there. You know, we had to pick out a few attributes that we thought represented us, or a few strengths, you know. So we picked words, you know, like success and abundance and strength. You know, things that we thought really, really represented us. And then we literally just Googled shapes and colors that represented those attributes. And we came up with, you know, orange matches, you know, power or whatever. We wanted like that.
In that sequence.
Yeah, exactly. And then we threw it all together in a logo, and we did a few designs, honestly. Some were pretty shit, but we came up with this one and we loved it.
Yeah. We chose the best one. Yeah.
The shed as well, our brand name, which we chose for a very specific reason. Would you mind explaining, or shall I?
Well, our brand name, the shed, it literally is just talking about a shed. There's no double meaning to this one,
except that it is an acronym.
It is an acronym as well.
But yes, just a shed,
just a normal shed. Yeah. But you know, where we come from, and because of the cannabis culture, within our area, within our community, in our country. Oh, where do we come from? Where do you
Well, we're based in Australia,
Yes.
as you may have
not
not picked up by our disgust at the laws.
laws are
So yeah, we're based in Australia, which has very tight laws. But I myself am Maori, so I'm from New Zealand,
and I'm from Papua New Guinea.
and so we are naturally from the South Pacific.
Yes.
And shed is very, very common down here. And I think it's one of the things that really separates South Pacific cannabis culture from the rest of the world.
It was something that resonated with the cannabis culture, you know, and it was appropriate enough for us to, you know, use it, and you know, when you speak about like the shed or whatever, you know, it was like a cultural thing, like I said before, and yeah, something that resonated with the cannabis community where we came from, and it was just it was just like 420. Hey, when you talk about 420,
Right.
you know, in Western cannabis you know, slangs or whatever, but yeah, like the shed was sort of something like that. Yeah, so that's why we decided, like, why not just chuck it on there and then use it. And because it had like great meaning to it, and it was something we were also familiar with, you know, and yeah,
We wanted something that was gonna represent us, like 100%, and where we came from. And we also wanted something that when people see this outside of Australia, outside of the South Pacific, they're still going to relate and they're still going to connect. So that's pretty much a breakdown of our logo, how it represents us and how it came to be. It's not just random. Even though it looks good, it does have a meaning behind it. And hopefully it's something that we can continue to take with us. Hopefully we don't change it over time, because I don't know, I think it's special.
Yeah, no, it really is. And hopefully we don't do too much changes, and yeah.
So apart from education, we are still a full-blown business, and we take pride in that. But if we didn't start this business, like, there are still a lot of other ways that we can get into the cannabis industry while it's illegal, while cannabis is illegal. So if we didn't start this business, like, for the people, how would you have gotten into the cannabis industry?
Like in Australia? Or yeah. Well, I probably would have, because like right now there are a lot more companies that work with cannabis and sort of like, or even hemp, like grow hemp as well. I would have just like tried to get some work experience going, or just like, call them up and see if
Can you be more specific about the places that you would go?
Yeah, like the companies that are currently operating in Australia, like MediFarm. There's a few more within like Queensland, in the Sunshine Coast and in Gold Coast. So there's like a lot of medical cannabis companies. I don't know if you could be able to like get a job there, but like that would be something.
But like, what do these places do? There's more than just farms.
Yeah, there's like more. There's the research labs. They make medical cannabis products. And I'm pretty sure like that. Obviously, they grow their own stuff there, and yeah, so it would be really great.
And there's medical clinics. There's also hemp retailers. There's pretty much a hemp everything. There's a hemp construction site, like people that build houses and make hemp materials. And like food and like clothing. Like, there's pretty much everything, that even publication, like down in Nimbin, there's a whole lot of like resources that you can get into. Like, you don't always have to go online.
Yeah, it's like you just gotta know where to look and who to go to, and what information to search for, and then that's why we try to help. You know, take the big stuff, break them down, and share them.
I also would have recommended work experience, I think, especially back when we were considering cannabis as a career. We were both, like you said, fresh out of work. So we were definitely still in that mindset of like, where can I make it? Where can I make it in the industry? And work experience definitely would have been our go-to if we didn't find education.
Yeah, but that's like to say that even if these companies do allow for work experience, but it would have been a good place to start.
I mean, who doesn't want a free employee for a good couple of months?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you would never know. You never know anything unless you try it. So
that's it.
That's what we would have tried.
That's it.
And I guarantee you we would have got it.
Hey, but who's to say we aren't going to try that,
Well, exactly. You never say never. But since we are online and since we are 100% online, like, what is your favorite thing about what we do? What's your favorite aspect, or what's your favorite platform, and why?
Yeah, it's just going to be the information that we pick up and like how surprising it can be. And
yeah, I think it's more though that, like, the feeling of it.
Yeah, the feeling of
learning.
Yeah, learning and like gaining new knowledge. Yeah, pretty much. And
how does it feel?
Well, it feels empowering, because you know that you know a little bit more about this thing, and it's not just something that's useless, but something that has more value and more worth to it. So what are your favorite things about what we do on the shed, or what the shed does?
I think it's like you. I love the education, but instead of receiving, I love giving, and I love adding value to people's lives, and I love that cannabis allows me to add value, or I allow cannabis to add value. It's kind of like passing forward that relationship, so that other people can interact with cannabis in the way that we do and can feel the way that we feel. It's all about the feeling, I think, that we receive when we do what we do, because we're so passionate. And I think for us it's all about sharing that feeling with others.
Yeah, and making people feel good about themselves too and what they do.
Exactly. And that's, honestly, I find that's how the cannabis community connects the most.
Yeah,
and
true. I agree. I would agree.
The shed as a business and as a brand really holds connection up with education, as a standard for like life and for living, especially for balance. Cannabis plays a huge role in balance, like life balance, internal and external.
Yeah, you stoners would know.
There's so many things that we could go on about. Cannabis, like, the benefits are honestly endless, and I've said this before, like, out loud, and I'll say it on here. Bring us any problem in your life, any problem in the world, and cannabis will help it in some way,
in one way or the other.
Yeah, in some way. There's not a problem. I'm saying this right here on our very first episode. Babe, are you hearing me? Yeah. I'm seeing your face. Are you hearing me? I know you can't hear me in your headphones. I said what I said. And you can hit us in the DMs.
Yeah. All right.
But do you really not believe that?
No, I do believe that, but it's just a really bold statement, and yeah.
It should make people uncomfortable though, because we have lived so long in cannabis prohibition that we've become accustomed to it when we don't know all the facts. Yeah. And I can tell you right now, ever since we've started our education, the more facts we know has not been negative. But,
yeah,
like,
there's nothing negative we've been learning, but, we're still learning about cannabis, and more looseness in the restrictions to allow for more, research and that.
He's just nice. There is no problem.
Pretty much.
I really believe it though, because I wouldn't be here otherwise. You know, I really believe that cannabis has the power to heal the world.
Yeah.
And all of the problems that we have in our life and in our world need healing.
Very true. Yeah, mentally, physically, you know, pretty much everything.
And if I didn't know 100% that cannabis could heal the world, I wouldn't follow it. You know, I wouldn't begin this business. I wouldn't begin this career if I didn't, you know, genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
And it is a bold statement, but it's bold to, you know, follow cannabis. It's bold to make cannabis the center of your life. And stand by that boldness, you know.
That's it, you know.
And at the same time, it's real fucking easy. How could you not want to stand by it, you know? And say what you say, because you know what you know. And if I'm being more honest, like, the only people that would oppose are the people that have done less research than you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because everyone in the cannabis community is in agreement.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we can leave it for the day. What do you say?
I reckon that was a really, really full-blown...
We ended it on a high, pun intended.
Yeah, we did. We're
setting the podcast on fire, y'all.
Definitely ending it on a high.
We gotta give the people something to think about. We gotta really make an impact. But I'm not even making an impact. That's just my honest opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
No, and that's crazy, you know, because that's what I think too. And
exactly. But we're saying it's for real now.
Yeah.
We recorded it. And that's all we're gonna say for today. Look, we can't hit the people with too much. Okay,
it's only our first episode, so we're gonna try to take it easy.
Yeah, let's not go too heavy. So, on that note, look, thank you so much. Like, if you made it to the end, like, thank you so much. I hope that the ending was really worth it. I hope that hike was really worth it. So thank you. If you made it, thank you for staying this long.
Hopefully it gives you something to like think about, you know, and something for you to, you know, keep with you going forward. But that's really what, you know, how we feel towards what we do.
And that's what the shed is. You know, this episode was all about us, all about the shed.
All about the shed and what we truly believe in, because, you know, we believe that the shed is more than just, you know, about the stereotypical cannabis.
Exactly. But don't fake it. Don't fake it till you make it.
And then that's just part of all the hypocrisy and all the freaking bloody propaganda against cannabis, you know. But
look, we're saying it again. You're making us say it again. You're making
us say it again. But yeah, you know, but we're really excited to kick off from here, and you know, hopefully what we bring to you is interesting, and hopefully you take something away from it, and that's all we, you know, care about. But
let us know what you think, though. Honestly, if there's a way you can comment on podcasts, I don't know how this podcasting works, to be honest. Give us a break. But yeah, let us know on Instagram, Facebook. You know, I'm sure we'll post links and all those types of things. So, and if you want us to discuss anything as well, like, we're literally open to anything at this point. This is our first podcast. So, like I said, thank you. We are so grateful. Thank you for having us in your ears. What else? That's all.
This was our first podcast, and like from here on, it's just, you know, there'll be just discussions on from here. So, you know, keep your ears peeled for what content we got coming up. And yeah.
So I'm Janaya.
I'm Nimbe.
And thank you for joining us for this session at the shed.
Peace
and love.